All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of TezTalks Live. As NFTs have been increasingly growing in popularity, and several popular NFT platforms have started to spring up around Tezos, we're featuring some special guests today to kind of tie into that. So, as usual, we have myself, William McKenzie, and Oliver Simon of Tezos Commons as your host, and we're joined with Mario Klingemann, aka Quasimondo, as you might know him, and Mikkel of Vertical Crypto Art. How's everyone today?
Excellent. Well, great to be here.
Glad to have you guys. And before we get started, I'd like to mention that we're going to be having another giveaway today of a Tezos branded Ledger 9S hardware wallet device. And it's pretty easy to participate. Like, all you have to do is wait for an announcement of a special keyword. And then you're going to be entering that keyword into the chat. And later on, we'll be announcing a winner. So good luck there.
Are we allowed to play?
I'm not sure. Are they allowed to play?
I don't know about that. I think we should leave it up to a community member to help that up. Let's go ahead and get started here. Mario, would you like to kind of give us all a bit of a background about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's say, I'm an artist now and have been dabbling with computers since I got my first one with 11 or 12 years. And over the decades, I slowly grew into kind of like, I always wanted to make art with computers, and eventually I got to the place where I can do that exclusively. And in between, I tried all kinds of things like that we all did. I built websites, earned my living from that. I was a graphic designer, motion graphics, had even a small company with some people for a while in the first .com boom. But since about 15 years, I would say, I'm exclusively on the art side. And what is interesting for us, I mean, I'm doing this, let's say, the crypto art thing since about a year. I started last February. So in a sense, for somebody who is in this field, a late adopter, I would say. But I had it on my radar for quite a while. But yeah, only a year ago, I took it more seriously. And as this whole field has developed now, actually, yeah, it's what I'm doing mostly. But I'm also doing, let's say, I'm exhibiting in physical spaces. So it's not all virtual and digital. And I think I'm known for my AI art. I mean, I hate the term, but that's what we call it. So I'm making art with artificial intelligence and build installations, make pretty pictures. I mean, and that's kind of bringing me, like, in before COVID, it was kind of like how I traveled the world, going and installing things and showing my work, and hopefully selling some of these too to collectors who can afford them. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Maybe Mikkel, you can give a bit of background about yourself as well.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'm not an artist. My background is pretty much in technology. So I've kind of worked within the realm of technology, bar marketing, social media for the past 8 years. And I got into the world of NFTs and crypto art and opened Vertical Crypto as a page back in summer of last year in 2020. And basically it's kind of been, I guess, a documentation of the space, and also, my kind of way of finding out about what was happening within the NFT ecosystem. And from there, it's obviously, evolved into what it is now. And I guess a place, I hope, to give, value to the space, both with, curation, as well as kind of like information and just bringing to life some, storytellings from artists and platforms and just the space in general.
It's wonderful to have you two in the crypto space. Let's talk a little bit about how you first stumbled upon Tezos. Like, do you remember when was the first time that you heard about it?
I think it's.
Yeah, Nicole, take it.
Yeah. Should I start? You want me to start?
You should.
Just start if you like.
Yeah. Well, let's say, of course, I was when I started a year ago, I was minting exclusively on the other chain. And so as we also know that about last December, the voices started mostly by Memo Acton, and then also Johnny came into the saying that, well, actually, it's not really ideal what we're doing there. Like the energy that is being used and the CO2 footprint is kind of pretty horrible. So, well, I was skeptical at first and did my own research, and we can discuss kind of like how bad it really is. But I thought well, if you can do it better, I mean, I heard about proof of stake, of course, that this is the promised land. And of course, I also heard, in a half a year or maybe a year, we will have it like Ether 2.0. But I also realized that there are other chains that are already running. But I came upon Tezos actually by accident because Django's, I still forgot, Django something, right?
Yes.
You know that.
Django,
should be Django Bits, right?
Yes, Django Bits,
yeah.
exactly. He actually wrote a reply to Art Gnome, Jason Bailey, saying oh, by the way, did you know there are now NFTs on this chain called Tezos? And it scrolled by and I just saw it and clicked on it. And well, then I think I landed on TZ Colors, and that looked interesting because it worked. And so then I thought then comes the big problem, right? You have to get another wallet. Ooh. Kind of that sounds so horrible and lots of work. And but I thought, okay, well, let me give it a try. And I think it took me 5 minutes to get a new wallet and have it looked the same like the other one. And so I bought my first color. Oh, well, the biggest problem for me was because I hadn't heard of TZ Faucet, that I had to, of course, get my funds into the wallet. But even that was not so difficult because I had already, of course, my exchanges. So I flipped something, sent it to my wallet, and let's say after 10 minutes, I bought my first color. So that was a really pleasure, a good experience there. And so I looked more around, and then I discovered that I think in the next tweet, he wrote, oh, there's also Hick at Nunc, which where you can mint your own NFTs. And I went there, and as we know, kind of very basic, very simple, which I already loved because it looked like a blank canvas where you can just play. And I gave it a try and minted my first NFT, and that worked. So it was all that horrible kind of my goodness, I have to learn everything new, and it's kind of with all these kind of thoughts that I had were not confirmed, and it was just working fine. And so the best next thing that happened was, so I tweeted about this and saying, oh, I discovered this new platform, and let's see where this goes. So, and minted my NFT. And then I got some direct messages by some people asking me, oh, can I buy this? And at that point, you couldn't even buy anything on Hick at Nunc. It was just you could mint, but you could not sell. But then I realized, okay, it's in the wallet, and an NFT is just like any other thing in there. So I can send it to somebody. So I told them, well, if you trust me, send me 50 Tezos, and I promise I will send you the NFT back. And that worked. So the first edition of 7 was sold out in an hour. And that was very encouraging. And then, some friends, people, I respect, very quickly tried the same that I did and were really happy about it. And maybe we get later into it, but then the whole thing started to explode. And it's really an amazing experience so far. And of course, then maybe, I don't know, I don't want to babble too long. Maybe Nicole will say something too. But I mean, then I only started doing more research about Tezos and the way it works. And it got even better because it just sounds like it's really well thought of. And I like certain concepts about it, that it can kind of upgrade itself. I like the people, like the people that I noticed that are behind it, that they are very smart and very thoughtful about it. I like the overall kind of tone of this. So that was like, I don't know, it seems to be super transparent and at the same time also no bullshit. I like the no bullshit attitude. So it's not trying to sell me more, or, I mean, of course there is some, everybody plays a role here and you can't just sit back and hope that somebody comes. So there is evangelizing, but overall it feels so not more than necessary. And that's, I like that. I don't like this super shouty kind of feeling that I get from other places.
That's also a pretty wonderful way to get to know new blockchain, right? To just like stumble upon it through practical use, just giving it a try and like seeing how it works and if you like it or not. I like that. Just a quick shout out here. I think that faucet you were referring to, that's also run by Django Bits. And to any artist who's watching this, who's wondering like, how can I just get some Tez and get started and mint something on Tezos? You can just search on Twitter for Tezos NFT faucet. And there's a nice guy who's like very willing to send you a few Tez to get you started, which is a wonderful aspect of the ecosystem, right? Yeah, Nicole, do you also want to talk a little bit about how you got into Tezos?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, my perspective is more of like, I guess, like a media perspective. So I actually found out about the environmental impact and, all of the discussion that was happening around Ethereum through an article that I read that Giovanni Lemercier published on his profile. And I kind of started looking into it a little bit more. I also actually, funny enough, received like quite a lot of backlash on like a video that I posted. And so I just started like doing my own research about it and just figuring out what was the argument about from both sides. And maybe, as Mario said, maybe we can get into it later. But it kind of like started to get me, interested in figuring out, the differences between POS and POV. And that's kind of at the same time that Mario was tweeting about it, which seemed like, kind of, oh, okay, this is something that the rest of the community is actually looking into. So I messaged him, and, I've known Mario for a few months, like since last year. And I messaged him and said, what is this Hick Nunc that you're looking into? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about it? And that's how I kind of, found out about Tezos and really started looking into Hick Nunc as a platform. And from there, it kind of started into, like organizing the Saturday streams and trying to reach out to, obviously Raphael, who's developer and founder of the platform, and like learning as well about Tezos as a blockchain, because I obviously had very, very little knowledge about it. So I knew obviously, Flow and other blockchains, and I knew about other marketplaces that were running on different blockchains, but I hadn't actually encountered like Tezos before.
That's wonderful. I'm actually really glad to have you in the ecosystem, because like for us, like having been into Tezos for a couple of years now, to see use being accelerated at that level through people like you, who just basically find out about it and tell other friends, that's actually really very nice. And also I feel like it's true that right now this comes at very it's very important to have alternatives to platforms like Ethereum that have this energy problem, right? So perhaps we want to go into this a little bit more. William, I believe you wanted to bring up an article, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess on kind of a macro lens, Mario and Mikkel, we're kind of seeing a lot of things playing not only within blockchain, but you have esports and you obviously have NFTs, and it's like taking these physical assets, such as art, trading cards, uh, etc., and we're starting to move these and convert them into digital ones. So, I mean, when we kind of zoom out here, how do you all both see this interest, that we've witnessed within NFTs, and maybe what are you most looking forward to seeing come out in the near to intermediate term?
Well, personally, I find it amazing that how purely digital art has now become a medium, or actually a good that can be traded. I mean, there's people who say like, oh, but we could do this since like 10, 15 years. But for some reason, I don't know anybody who could make a living from making digital art, which was directly linked to making art, not by selling your services to an agency or doing something around it, but really the pure asset that you are kind of like, you make this and then it's yours, and it's not kind of a commission. And that is only possible because of NFTs. So, I mean, yes, you can try to sell stock photography or something. That was the only way. Or really you do something like I did before, like you packages in a physical art piece, or you make prints on all these things. And so that is the most exciting part. I mean, the whole hype that is happening around it, I mean, is probably necessary. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be there. I mean, then we would, like, if it would only be at the level that it was like 2 years ago, it would just be kind of a curious like thing that people do. But now it has taken on this global scale and been noticed by all kind of other players. And of course, the timing, I mean, that everybody's in lockdown and everything's closed, of course, played an important role. But I believe now it has established itself in such a form that, like, even if things become normal again, it will not go away anymore. I mean, I definitely expect that the craziness will kind of it has to be. I mean, all these things follow the same patterns like stock curves.
Right.
And you get these peaks, and then it go like, it has to kind of, the hot air has to get out, but it will settle on a higher level. And and then, I mean, again, like, not like what we see is these crazy sales and millions, but what gets overlooked is something that happens that, like Hick at Nunc, which is only also made possible by this, where it's not so much about the money, but suddenly you evolve a new type of community where people from all types of different media and let's say, who, well, maybe kind of are on the same Twitter timeline but don't know each other, are suddenly feeling some kind of togetherness and realize that, well, the market maybe enable them to do these things, but it's not the most important part, but it's still necessary to keep this thing running. And I don't know, we're still figuring it out, but there are all these new concepts like governance and actually making an entity which is owned by nobody, which is still functional and can interact with the world, which includes money. And but there is no boss, and that's something I think many people still have to realize, that this is possible now, and it's very fascinating. And we have this experimental lab there which we can try it out. And well, the worst thing is that, I mean, right now we're having a lot of fun, which is already, I mean, if it stopped now, we could even have like the very good memories of a great time. I don't think it will stop. And some people are able even to make a living. I mean, definitely not everybody, but also depending on their, let's say, where they live. Like, even if you sell something for 5 or 10 Tezos, that might not be a lot if you live in Germany, but if you are in Brazil or in Malaysia or somewhere in the world, that is actually something where that's that's great. I mean, I hope, of course, also for everybody there to sell at 100 or 1,000 at some point. But it's great that this is already possible, and also encourages a lot of people who have not thought about joining this to give it a try, and and so maybe they came for the money, but hopefully stay for the great community and
Right.
actually starting something that's bigger than just about selling art.
Yeah, and I think low transaction fees, those are this is really a big argument for Tezos right now, right? Just like for those who are unfamiliar with it, you can basically just mint something for a couple cents. Like you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started doing it. So feel free to just dive in and give it a try. So Mario, you just brought up this name Hick at Nunc, right? So maybe for those who aren't really familiar with the platform, you already said it's kind of like an experimental lab, right? And from my perspective, it's sort of this organic thing that is sort of being built like out in the wild, right in front of our eyes, and it's developing quite rapidly and changing itself. So I was just wondering, how would you describe it to a person that doesn't really know Hick at Nunc yet?
Well, I would call it like Andy Warhol's factory, but on Mars. Because I mean, to be honest, like at the moment, like Tezos is still a bit like Mars, like when it comes to the market, because like we come here and at first there is let's say the oxygen that keeps the market alive, like it still has to be brought with us, but it's already working. And so we have already a great functioning infrastructure, but then we really can just build something new there. And so, yes, the way it works is it was originally built by Rafael Lima, and he kind of set up the platform, used the new NFT standard that was added to Tezos. I think, I don't know, maybe a few months ago. I don't know when that new standard was actually being added, but anyway. So, and in some way, Hick at Nunc is a very thin layer on the blockchain itself. So one of the fascinating parts is right now that there's no data stored in any other database than on the chain itself. So, which is also why it's maybe so strange sometimes. Why can't we like things, or why can't we do certain things? Because there's nothing stored on some other server except for the code that runs it, but which is fascinating. So and so anything you see is coming directly from IPFS or from the chain itself. And so yeah, it's almost very close to the metal, which I like about it, that it's so simple. So it's really like just the necessary stuff. The other thing that's great is the whole code, including the contract and everything, is open source. So if somebody wanted to, and that's actually not like that's even encouraged, you could like fork the GitHub repository for the UI and for the API and start your own platform. And if you think you can, like, you want something different there, if you feel, oh, I want more blinking buttons and everything in squares or so, then people could do that. But because it's open, the fascinating thing is everybody can help and add something they want. And I think that's kind of the general attitude of Hick at Nunc is, like, if you want something, then, well, either you find somebody who can make it or you build it yourself. And that's so amazing things happen. So I think, what was it, like 2 weeks or 1 week after we started, like somebody, and I don't know exactly who it was, like figured out, like, oh, we can also include SVGs. I mean, you can upload anything, but of course, the front end still has to handle it somehow. So that's why usually you have just JPEGs and videos. But if the MIME type is SVG, then, well, all you need is that it's getting packaged in the right frame. And that means, like, somebody wrote the code that shows SVGs, and then somebody discovered, oh, SVGs can run JavaScript, so we can have interactive pieces, and we can have suddenly scripted NFTs. So that, of course, opened up the possibilities for a whole new group of generative artists who so far couldn't do this or would have to use some platforms where you can have scripted stuff, but it's kind of very curated. And that's the other great point. Hick at Nunc is absolutely open to anybody. So there's no so anybody can, if you have a wallet, you can start minting. It's a dangerous thing, but that's also in the philosophy. So, I can go into this. So right now, of course, what happens if you have no kind of no bouncer at the door? Some people start abusing this. So we have the phenomenon of copy minters now, which are also in other platforms that have no vetting. And we try to deal with it. I mean, when I say we, it's not me, but it's kind of other volunteers who kind of check reports when somebody discovers that this is stolen. Then what we can do is we ban the wallet so it will not appear on the site anymore. And now, of course, we are thinking of better ways of handling this, but the overall philosophy is to keep it as free as possible and to have as little obstructions to kind of allowing people to do what they want, as long as they don't kind of hurt others or So in the end, do what you want that other people do to you. I mean, that's, I guess, a spirit of enjoy as much freedom as you like, but as long as you don't kind of hamper others in that same freedom. And so, and because it's open source, in the past 3-4 weeks, people added all these additional formats. Now we can mint entire HTML pages. We can have PDFs. So we have that. That's the amazing thing. So if somebody wants it, then it will be added. And that, again, opens the door to people who previously might not even have thought about doing NFTs, poets, writers, animators maybe, yes, but and game developers. I mean, you can put an entire game there now, and then you can find some way how you can have people you mint, you don't mint one, but you mint 10,000 and sell each for 1 Tezos. And that. So right now it's also about finding out what's the right way of selling things there. So it's all about let's try this and see where it goes. And hopefully, so far, I think we only once had a day where somehow the API broke and the site was down. I think that's the worst thing that happened so far. But so far, it's really always exciting to see, did somebody add a new feature? What can we do now? So yeah, it's about curiosity and freedom to do, and putting the art first. I think that's the other main point. So it's really trying not to put kind of artist rankings and who sold the most in the foreground. I mean, it's there, and as anything on the blockchain, if you want, you can get that information. But I think it's really more about enjoying the good time we have and having as many people as possible kind of share in that. So that's at least how I feel about it. But that's the other thing. I'm not speaking for Hick at Nunc. I mean, everybody is speaking for it. I just happen to have more followers. So that's the unfair part that I cannot help. And so I try not to abuse that and try rather to spread the positive attitude or so. But in the end, there's nobody who's the boss. And it's more like the more you engage with it, the more you will get out of it, and the more you and the others will profit from it. I think that's the general idea about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a question from the audience here. I think we'll pass this on to Mikkel. So Kryptonio asked, besides art, do they try other use cases for NFTs, and which ones do they think will be the most dominant in the future?
Yeah, so I think Mario touched on, you mentioned before, what are you most excited about to see next? And I think it ties into the question really, really well. So I think not only, does the blockchain and NFTs in general give freedom to artists to kind of obviously, monetize as they've probably never done before, and to really not be linked to, an agency or a client, but to be honest, to all creators in any way or form. So whether it's gaming, whether it's poetry, whether it's video content creation, like anything at all. And especially on like a platform, for example, like Hick at Nunc, like we're already seeing so many iterations of what NFTs could be. And I find that very exciting. It's the experimentation part that is really cool. And it kind of brings, back to the idea of the blockchain as a medium, right? To really like experiment and use the medium and play with it. And I think there will be so many use cases for NFTs. Art, I guess, was the first kind of leadway into NFTs, but we're already seeing like music is going to be probably the next big thing. Gaming is already huge. So many like virtual realities are, already kind of in the gaming kind of industry. So it's only going upwards, I think, from here. So there will be more and more use cases, like even in terms of real estate, if you think about it, like virtual land is already a use case for NFTs. So I think we'll see much more. Museums, galleries, like I'm sure there will be a lot coming into play as well in the near future. So yeah.
And Nico, you talk a lot about this topic, right? I mean, and you have this live stream or like this channel, Vertical Crypto Art. Do you want to perhaps introduce it a little bit more for people to know?
Yeah, sure. So it's Vertical Crypto on Twitter, and the idea of the channel is basically to provide value to the ecosystem, the NFT ecosystem as a whole, in a form of curation. So, for example, like doing picks and kind of spotlighting artists that might be, not in kind of like the top 20s or the big kind of, top sale records on the bigger platforms, but also in general, like have a space to have conversations. So for example, the Saturday streams that we have with the Hick at Nunc and friends and community, and also surface topics like, for example, traditional art versus crypto art, or use cases of virtual land. So I had the CEO of Sandbox coming in and having a talk. So it's really a space for me as well, to get to know more about the space and learn more about NFTs, and hopefully provide a resource for people that are either coming into the space or have been in the space to learn more about it, and to get to know connections as well between artists and people in general. So yeah.
Wonderful. I've watched some of your streams. I enjoy them personally, so keep it going. And for our viewers, be sure to head over to Vertical Crypto on Twitter. Yeah, Mario, please go ahead.
No, sorry. I mean, I also enjoy the streams, especially Raphael's fan running in the background. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Raphael has the loudest computer fan, and yeah, it's always I really miss it if it's not there. Well,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But on to Mario's point about
I don't know how much time we have. Sorry. One thing on the question, what becomes dominant? Just my take. I hope nothing really becomes dominant. I really always like it if everything can coexist. And of course, the more variety there is, the better, and hybrids. And so, yes, games definitely. But it's I always curious for use cases that people have not even thought of yet, that you could kind of turn into an NFT or use a smart contract for. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do share the sentiment. It's great for things to coexist, but at the same time, it's also kind of a great argument for Tezos, because it's able to adapt itself to different realities, right? And can kind of take parts of different things that are out there and potentially implement it into itself, sort of. So this is pretty interesting. But let's get to something else, Mario. I think you wanted to mint something on Hick and Nunc live here and now, right?
Okay, well, I do. How much time do I have? Well, now, so yeah, of course I prepared something because like if I would have to start typing now, so I guess I should start sharing my screen, or should I explain first?
Yeah,
I
sure.
can explain while this is running, right? So,
However you like. Go ahead.
well, can I already click on share screen here? Should that work, or would you have to kind of allow me to do that?
Maybe you just give it a try.
Okay. Yeah. Were you entire? Sorry. Yeah, because I was kind of nope. Here we
No
go.
worries.
Right. Okay. Now we get into the feedback loop quickly. Can you see my screen
Yes,
now?
we see it.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is actually my profile page on Hick at Nunc. So this is kind of the stuff that I created. So some of my earlier works, and there's also my collection of things that I have collected. And it's really like I can only recommend up. So not too quickly, kind of there's amazing work out there. And so once you are on the site and you have your wallet connected, like up here is my Temple wallet. And here is that's like in the earlier times, there was always the sync button and you always had to press it. Well, that changed. Well, I missed the sync button somehow, but I'm in. So I go to this menu and here I can say mint NFTs. And so again, super Spartanic kind of interface. And let me start by picking the picture. What I will mint is I have created these clusterings of all the NFTs minted on Hick at Nunc so far. And so this is the latest installation. It's 25,000 thumbnails of the works, and they are arranged by their similarity. So this is what I will upload. And I have already prepared the text that I want to enter. So this is the title, Hick at Nunc, State of the Art, and the day is today. So that's how I call it. And here is the whole description text. So I will not read it to you, but so I paste that into description. So I always, very important, whenever you put text in there, make extra sure that there's no typo in there, because like these are the most embarrassing typos in the world, because they will never go away. They are forever. So this is really kind of something you want to be sure. So these are some tags that we can add. So, well, in this case, it's kind of general. This is important. So this is kind of how many of these I want to mint. So this is a number that cannot be changed afterwards. So in this case, I say I mint an edition of 50 NFTs. So I can sell up to 50 of those. And since yesterday, we even have the royalties, the artist settable royalties re-enabled again. So before we had a little bug in the contract, it was fixed to 10%, but now you can pick anything between 0 and 25%. So let me take something in the middle, and I take 15% royalties whenever this piece is being resold again on the secondary market. So now I'm almost ready to go. I get a preview. This is what I'm going to mint. And here you can see kind of like there's somebody like almost like a bot, very active, minting purple GAN works, which, well, an acquired taste, I would say. But okay, that's like, it's a free world. And so, yeah, so you can see all these little dots are pieces minted by other people. Well, so I can have a last check what's going on. And so now almost the last step. So now I should see my wallet popping up. Let's hope this comes. There we go. So now I have to wait for the confirmation, and it tells me it costs me 6 cents to mint this NFT. And well, here we go. That's it. And now, well, the whole, like I think it's a 16 megabyte file, so that has to be uploaded to IPFS, and so we have to wait a little, and well, nothing very exciting, but it's good to idea. So one thing, important tip, you always have to wait until one operation you are doing with that contract has finished. So you shouldn't go and try to collect something now. I mean, coined this term. What's it like? A Nunc is kind of the time you have to wait until you can collect your next NFT or your next object. Because sometimes you see something and you want to have it, and then you realize, oh, there's even something better. You want to have that too, so you have to wait about a minute. So let's see what we can do is we can kind of check in the activity. I don't know. Yeah, can you see that? So it's still pending. So probably, busy. The blockchain is busy today. Well, as long as it's not being.
Huh? We can we can use this time to go ahead and announce the winner of our giveaway, yes, perhaps. So we have a winner, and it's Anastasia C. So Anastasia, please reach out to Tezos Commons, who would be very glad to send a ledger your way.
Yes, actually reach out to social@tezoscommons.org and be sure to take a screenshot of your account.
So we're here. Should we? Congratulations. So let me go to the final step, because there's still one step missing. So now you can see the newly minted object has landed in my creations, but it's still not on the market. I still have to set a price for which I will sell this. So now this is the big file and it's loading. So now here's the piece. You can actually zoom in and you can see it better if you open it up in a second window. We have this button that says not for sale, and then we have the info, the current collectors, which of course are none, and this is the swap button. So now here I can decide how many of these I want to put on the market and for which price. And so what I'm using here is I call it the press tube method. And because James Patterson, who goes by the handle of PressTube on Twitter, he kind of came up with it. So I don't sell all of them at the same time, but I start kind of, in this case, because for everybody to be happy, I start selling 10 for just 1 Tezos a piece. But then the next 10 will be more expensive, and the other 10 then follow will even be kind of like the price will go up. But so if you're kind of ready now, so I will put it on the market. I will get another confirmation. So this is 7 cents to kind of make the swap. And we wait for a second or 30 seconds. And if you go to, this URL up here, you will hopefully be able to see that this button will come to on sale for 1 Tezos. And I expect, I have kind of enough confidence that I think it will not be, those 10 will not be on the market for very long. So the next 10 will be more expensive. I already warn you. And it's 50 there. So that's kind of the whole thing about like finding like what's kind of how much is it worth. But it's also about like giving the people who like what you do kind of a chance to get something for that, like even if they are not yet Tezos millionaires. So you can play with this. So let's see how long it will be. So let's check the activity. I never know if the activity is actually updating if I keep looking. So maybe Mikko wants to say something before we. I can also just try to read.
Mario, I enjoy hearing you.
Okay, let's see what happens if it already has updated the market. So, it's like a big file. And yes, here we go. So you can see now 10 editions still available. Collect for 1 Tezos. So you're good to go. And I will then go and put the other ones. So I should stop sharing my screen now. So that's it. I mean, 3 minutes to do it.
Thanks for the demo. Yeah, so everyone in the audience, be sure to head over to Hick at Nunc and try to grab a piece of these 10 NFTs that Mario just minted.
There will be more later. So yeah, but if you get them now, 1, and the next will be 10, I guess. No, 5. I'm still thinking about it. All right.
Maybe we can plug in, but every Saturday at 7 p.m. British summertime, which is about 2 p.m. Eastern time, we do like a live stream with Hick at Nunc founder Raphael and friends. So, Quasimondo is often on it, as well as other peeps that support and just, basically like work in some way or form, contribute to the platform. So for anyone who wants to know more, just tune in to Vertical Crypto on Twitter and you'll find the stream on Saturday.
Wonderful. Yeah, those are great last words to wrap up this episode. It was wonderful to have you guys on the show. Let's remind ourselves that the Tezos ecosystem is growing at an incredible rate. There's a lot of things going on, so I would like to encourage everyone to get out there, check things out, connect to people, reach out to Nicole and Mario on Twitter, and yeah, have a great day. Enjoy your time. And follow Tezos Comments on Twitter if you want.
Yeah, do that. Well, thank you so much for having us. Yep, it's great.